September, and here we are at 100 degrees again.
Heat wave part 7 or 8, or I lost count at this point, right?
So did I, actually. It's about that. It just, it's just been a super hot summer. As I described earlier, no matter how you cut it, it's just been super hot. So to cool things down a little bit, we'll start you off with this. Drizzle at the Oregon coast. Don't you want to just get drizzled on?
That sounds good right now.
Right? Instead, I'm going to show you the seepage later on. But let's check out the drizzle, and the clouds lift a little bit, and you can see it's just cloudy out at the coast, and that marine layer is thickening up and is beginning to make inroads into the valleys. Now, up in the Cascades, back to hot and smoky, because that's what it was up in the mountains too. You see these clouds out here. We had some thunderstorm activity ever so briefly over the mountains of central Oregon, east of Bend and Prineville, but it didn't last very long. 100 in Portland, 100 in Troutdale. Records here, 90s as you go up and down I-5, 101 in Medford, the hot spot in Oregon today, that 104 over in the Dalles. Pendleton also making it up to 100 degrees today. 70s and 60s on the Oregon coast, so very pleasant there as we saw the drizzle that produced. But check this out. This is good news. We're still hot in Portland at 83, but check out McMinnville at 71. I mean, they're a full 12 degrees cooler. Part of that's because more rural area down there in Yamhill County than the city here in Portland, but that's not the only reason. And if we go farther south down the valley, it's 67 in Corvallis as opposed to the 83 in Portland. So that's a huge difference. That's a 16-degree difference between the two towns, right? Why is that? Well, we have no wind here, but McMinnville, there it is. That's the seepage. A little bit of west wind coming in through the valley there at 6 miles an hour. A little bit stronger wind in Corvallis, and Eugene with that south wind also indicating some marine air working its way through the southern part of the valley. So it's happening. The cooler air is making its move into the valleys, but again, it's not a massive flood. It's just kind of a gradual cool down of the air mass as we catch some of that cooler marine air. You see the weather systems here. This is the next one that'll move north, and it will not move into Oregon, but it will move north into the coast of BC as we go into Friday and the weekend. And as that happens, it'll induce a stronger surge of marine air into the valley. So we'll get cooler weather for the weekend too. So I thought I'd zoom out, show you the big picture here. There's not a lot of storms across the Pacific, but I want you to zero in on that one right there, because that is a storm. In fact, that's the strongest storm on the planet so far this year, or at least this summer, and its name is Super Typhoon. Well, its name is HINNAMNOR, and it is a super typhoon with winds of about 160 miles an hour in the core there. So this is Okinawa, southern part of the Japanese islands here. There is a U.S. Air Force base there called Kadena, and they're going to get winds probably about 70 miles an hour and several inches of rain, but the core of HINNAMNOR should move farther south and avoid that Air Force base if we have interest there, if you know any friends or family there. Here's the track of this typhoon, and it's really unfortunate that it makes this hard northern turn here and never goes into China. And I say that because China has had a brutal summer, drought, severe heat, and they could use the rain from a tropical system like this. They won't get it, but the islands of Japan might. Had some questions on social media about, hey, might that impact our weather here on the West Coast in the weeks ahead? Maybe. Sometimes western typhoons, the remnants of those storms, will impact us, but more often than not, they don't. They have many, many different fates that they can have. Okay, marine layer coming in a little bit, and then a little bit more on Thursday and Friday. So it will cool down a bit. There's a little drizzle again on the Oregon coast as we go into Saturday morning. So the weekend, we should be in the 70s, and it's going to be a while before we get any significant rain rolling into the western valleys. I don't see it in the next week or so. 83 right now, freezing level 14,900 feet. Clear tonight, sunny tomorrow, not as high, about 92. So we dropped 8 degrees. I'll take that. 92 again on Thursday, then 80s on Friday, and for the long weekend, maybe see 90 again next week. One day of 90, at least in my book, does not make a heat wave, but it's certainly better than 100.
Still 7 days of sunshine right across the board there.
Yeah, nothing but.
Thank you, Matt.
Sure.
And